Hey everyone, how's it going? I just wanted to start off with a few statistics about women in Web3. There are more women than men interested in getting into crypto. About 53% of the people who are interested in getting into crypto, who haven't yet, are women. There's only 81 million crypto wallets worldwide, meaning there's an opportunity, this is my math, so correct me if I'm wrong. There's an opportunity to onboard around 10 million more crypto wallets held by women if only 1/4 of the crypto curious activate wallets. And then only 26% of current crypto holders in the US are women. It gets more interesting when you consider that women account for 70 to 80% of buying decisions worldwide. So that means everything, like retail, consumer packaged goods, everything. So women make primary decisions about how to spend money. So there's incredible opportunity. So in addition to that, only 5% of women currently hold NFTs, and only 5 to 15% of women are creators or founders of collections. Women-led NFT collections are among the first to focus on social change rather than just economic value or token utility. So you can see that if we're trying to onboard more people into crypto and NFTs in general, we have incredible opportunities not only to do social good, but also to have a really good PR story. So with that said, I'd like to take it to the panelists to introduce themselves. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm really happy to be here. My name is Laura Rodriguez. I am known as the Miami Ape, but the Miami Ape is actually my company. We're focusing on branding, on advising, and also everything that has to do with community building. My background is in social work. I have a master's in social work. So Web3 has been for me the unity of all the worlds that I love. So I have been hosting Twitter Spaces. I have been really connecting with the community and trying to be an advocate not only for myself, but for everyone else that needs it. I am Latina, and I've been hosting in English and in Spanish, trying to really build the Latino community in the space. So that's a little bit about me.
Hey everyone, I'm Lindsay Camerata. I am the head of marketing. You see our red shirts, you'll see those around. So I am the head of marketing at OneOf. We are an NFT platform and marketplace specializing in entertainment and brands. Our main focus, if you hear our CEO Lynn talk, is really about bringing the next generation of people onto the blockchain. So that includes women, it includes the underrepresented communities that a lot of us have talked about, and it's very important for any of our success, in my opinion, to make sure that we're inclusive. So big part of our platform.
Hi everyone, happy to be here. Eliana Torres. I'm actually an intellectual property attorney, and I practice in the space, so I am also a JPEG collector myself. I moderate a Discord, and I've been working with NFT founders, tokenization founders, so any Web3 intersection with IP, that's kind of my jam. And I'm really excited to be here because I see creativity come to fruition, and I love finding the complex legal issues and finding solutions that are creative for those founders and for anyone so that they could get from A to Z and get to see their ideas come to life.
Awesome. Amazing panel, right? I'm Falcon. I am a co-founder and CEO on a generative project called Ethereals. It's 12,345 PFP ghosts. There's all kinds of lore and things like that. But what we have in our collection that I think is interesting and compelling is a lot of mechanics that are present in Web3. My background is in creative strategy and brand positioning, working with enterprise-level brands for a really long time. Consumer packaged goods, entertainment, athletic, resort, all kinds of things. So I'm really interested in consumer behavior, connecting emotionally with people to compel them to take action and get involved in things that are meaningful. Primarily, I've focused on purpose-driven brands for the majority of my career, including brands that support social justice, environmental justice, and equity. I think NFTs are an opportunity, a really great opportunity to do that, and for all of us to be able to collectively make these decisions together. With that said, my phone screen went blank. Anybody who wants to take this question, what piece of advice do you wish you had before entering Web3?
I really think that for me, the main thing is to remember that everybody has something to give into NFTs. And I think that that's what got me started, to really not be afraid of saying, okay, I'm not in tech, or I'm not into video games, or I am into video games, or whatever it might be, that for you to really just study what the Web3 and the blockchain and all the opportunities that we have right now and see where you fit in, but to find it for yourself. No one could really tell you, hey, this is how I'm gonna introduce you into the NFT world, and this is exactly what you're gonna be working on long term. So I think my advice that I would have liked to get, and that I was lucky enough to have someone to guide me and say, hey, you know what, like, look into this a little bit deeper, because something might resonate with you that would spark this, madness, this excitement that has created being part of this world.
Yeah, and I think jumping off that for me as well it's a cliche at this point, but that we are very early. That if you're an expert in this field, it's only by a couple years, if that. A lot of experts are really only a year in, which is unheard of in really any other space. So I would say just keeping that in mind, if you're feeling imposter syndrome or like you're not good enough, like you just need to remember that we're all in this together. We're all brand new to this space. I actually came over from Spotify about a year ago. So for me, this was brand new in the space. And one of the reasons I chose to make the leap was my CEO was he was great at connecting with me emotionally. And what he said was, I'm the CEO of this company and I'm probably like 3 months ahead of everyone else. So if you can say that in the space, then I think just keeping that in mind to have the confidence to kind of move forward is important.
Yeah, definitely. Web3, about 1 month equals about 20 years. So, yeah, we're all building it together. I mean, like, that's the important part to consider. And to your point, I think, find people that can help you learn and grow, but then also onboard others. We need people in the space. Like, we need to make it easy. I think women are really good about that because, like, intrinsically, we're kind of nurturers, and we like to dialogue with one another. And so, find people who are interested, help to bridge the gaps of their knowledge, lead them to resources. I mean, that's what really what this is resourcing all kinds of capital, financial, intellectual, creative capital, all of those kinds of things. We have this decentralized environment where everybody's welcome. So even if you're not an artist or a dev, you're a lawyer or some project manager, anything, if you are even crypto linearly associated with it, onboard your people. We need everybody, really. So then, next question. What use case opportunities do you think will bring the greatest value to women in Web3? This is an exciting question for me. Anybody want to take it? Well, yeah, utility in particular for women through NFTs.
I mean, I think it's a tough question, but go ahead, Elena.
No, I was just going to say, I don't think it's just women-centered. I think that it's just humanity-centered. I think that NFTs bring value not just to women, but to all kind of, non-binary, everyone. And I think that's what it's so beautiful about Web3 is that it's uniting all kinds of people together. And I think that's kind of my opinion on the utility. I think the utility is going to transcend gender. But we just have to remember, and going back to the last question, that you being here and maybe in uncomfortable positions, like some of us get really nervous on stage, but doing these things are what sets the ground for people to come after you. And I think that's what's really important, that you don't know who you're inspiring behind you that's going to come and change the world.
Well, and Eliana, you are an attorney. And so in your profession already, there's fewer women, there's fewer women of color. And so I think it's really interesting that you can help onboard more people into both of those industries and looking for opportunities. Representation is really important. On my team, we have three women founders, which is pretty big. But looking, and that was a lot of the male counterparts on our team insisted on bringing in more women. So look for your allies. And then if you have a place of privilege, bring other people in as well. Really think about opportunities to help get more people involved. This one I would really like to hear from everyone on the panel. What has been your greatest accomplishment in Web3 so far?
I think for me, the biggest accomplishment has been this sense of truly helping. I think by being a social worker for so many years and being in the field or being, in different organizations, nonprofits, having the opportunity to have the tools that we have in Web3 and share them with everyone and really seeing the impact that they have, even if it is, hey, Laura, we were able to connect with a new job, we were able to help this nonprofit organization, seeing nonprofit organizations accepting crypto and onboarding them into the blockchain. Also being able to help nonprofit organizations back in my country, in Colombia, that I've worked with for many, many years very closely, and now I've ended up helping so much more in the matter of the last 2 years than ever before. So for me, I think what I take is that's my fuel. A lot of the times it's like, sure, there could be like exciting opportunities for myself, but when I do that, that's like my, let's keep on going, we got this. And really seeing people saying, hey, you know what, I was listening to a Twitter Spaces and I used to not see that many women, but I heard you speaking and I just said, hey, you know what, she kind of sounds like me. And she has an accent. I was like, I have an accent too. Maybe I'll go up and speak my mind. And to me, that's empowering. I think, really sharing the possibilities and being there for other people fills my heart. So.
And for me, one of my proudest moments is actually a really, really small one. We had a drop with Doja Cat. It was one of our first NFT drops for the company. And in our Discord, we ran an AMA just to talk with the community, see what they thought about it. And we had this one girl take the stage, and she had this squeaky little voice. She sounded like she was 12 years old. And she was like, hi, my name is Ellen, and I just bought my very first NFT. I didn't know what an NFT was. I just love Doja Cat, and this has been so awesome. And it's such a small example, but that's exactly what we're trying to do with our company is bring on, the next generation, young people, women, just people who have never even known what an NFT is. And so for me, I was so proud of that we were able to kind of bring someone along that journey. And like you said earlier, that's how we're all going to succeed, is if we're focusing on those people and making them feel comfortable and like they can join projects.
Last thing, yeah, for me, it's seeing people's ideas come to life, like I mentioned before. I think being an attorney, you kind of play in the backstage, but it's really beautiful to see someone get so excited about their project that you could see it in their eyes. And that, to me, being able to help and just have a little bit in that project, just on the legal side, is really exciting to me. And then the second thing is just the community. Seeing people that you see that the people feel that they belong in certain communities and the NFT projects, I love seeing that. I love seeing the sense of community, the things that you are able to accomplish with like bringing people together and bridging certain communities together. I think that those things are beautiful. And the last thing is, the accent thing is real. I get really self-conscious about my actions sometimes, but then I hear Laura talk in Spaces, and I'm like, she's doing it. Why can't I do it? So seeing someone do it before me, I know that someone after me is going to be just as encouraged as I was by her.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, seeing people who look like you, hearing people that sound like you, like that's really important. The community aspect, I think, is the biggest thing that we can offer, because we're breaking down all of these barriers. There's, my proudest moment is similar to yours, Lindsay, that I would estimate maybe like 70% of the people who are holders of our collection, it was their first NFT. And we tried really hard to make that buying experience easy, like making education really central to it, especially with women, right? Like women like to feel safe. And this is not like a gender bias or anything. This is like statistical, just like math. And so our buying behaviors and the ways that we adopt things, we like to know all of the kinds of risks and challenges and as much information as we can before we make a decision. So part of that onboarding process, I think for everybody, should be like keeping people safe, giving them the tools to buy with confidence and to collect and to trade with confidence, helping them learn to do it themselves, right? Like offering like development tools, or offering like community forums where people can share skills, platforming people within your communities, like showcasing their talents. We've worked really hard with the people in our collection to help get them job opportunities. We've helped to get them job opportunities in Web3. We've worked really hard to collaborate with other collectors. Nobody's your competition. I think that's the one thing to take away, that this is one of the few industries that really nobody's your competition. Everybody is your co-creator and collaborator. And if you really look at it that way, I often like to say, If you're just getting started, come with your hand up, not out. So like, don't come for a shill, come to say, hey, you know what, I see an opportunity for me to help you. Help people for free. Like, help people for free, because that social equity is like, and capital is way more important than anything that you can make, you know? I would like to keep it going. I know I get really excited about community, but I think that that's the key. I mean, really, you're doing deep market learning in real time. The kinds of things that traditional companies pay millions of dollars to do focus groups, but you have this like information at your fingertips. You can build products that your community wants at this moment, and then you can include more people. You're not segmenting and siloing through consumer segments. I'm just curious from everybody on this panel, what do you think are opportunities for brands courting women in Web3? Like, what would you like to see from a brand that was entering the space? Like, we see a lot of brands entering the space like kind of a little bit clumsily. Like, they say, it's almost the approach of like, oh, I want to throw up a billboard. And it's like, oh, I want to have an NFT project. If you could like partner with a brand, what would be like maybe a dream brand, and like what would be a scenario that you would like to partner with a brand?
I think on our end, so we do a few partnerships with brands, and I think one of the aspects of it is that looking at who's working on the project as well. That's very important to us, to make sure that we're staffing accordingly, that we're diverse in the back end. Because to me, it's if you're creating it for a certain audience, you have to be a certain audience. So you really need to make sure you're representing the way you talk to a consumer, the way that you're, like you said, making them feel like they're in a safe space, that they're not being talked down to, but that it's true education. And that's only going to come, in our opinion, as a company, if you're building from a diverse place as well.
And participating, right? Like,
Exactly.
you can't just like show up and dump and run.
Exactly. So we've actually had brands, which I think is a really good sign. They come to us and say, who is working on your project? Who do you have on the back end? Like, what executives do you have, and where do they come from? And that's a really good sign, in my opinion, is making sure that you're on the same page from a creation standpoint.
I'll add to that. I think that working with the existing Web3 natives, so working with community builders like Laura, or like, I think that that's genius in their part, instead of just absorbing. I think that I wouldn't want them to just take over and kind of erase what we've already built so far. I think that if they collaborated and had input, that's one thing that I would like to see. And then interactivity. If you allow the Web2 brands to interact with Web3 as far as giving input, like you mentioned, with community and existing communities, rather than erasing or absorbing or merging or acquiring, I think that would be more valuable.
Absolutely. I think that being respectful to a lot of people that have built for so many years, and not everyone that has been building for so many years has a platform to share, and I'm aware of that. So if there's any way to connect either with people that have that visibility or other people that don't, and have partnerships that are genuine, that really resonate with whatever brand is coming along, I think that that's what really gets people in the space to have more faith in the brand. So I really do think that brands should be coming into the space, but perhaps thinking of ways, hey, we're already established in Web 2, then perhaps we don't have to do this crazy mint where we charge all this amount of money. Perhaps we give something to our most loyal customers. A lot of brands already have like reward systems, so I think it's for brands to get curious about what is Web3, how could we utilize it, and maybe this is not through this multi-million-dollar mint, and maybe later down the line, but showing that respect, I think it would be a beautiful way to get started.
Yeah, we want them to build with us, not for us, right? Yeah. I mean, I think if you look at the trajectory of Web 1, right, it's information and connection, right? Like, we all could like actually communicate with each other worldwide. You go to Web 2, that's broadcasting, right? It's like, this is my platform, I'm going to serve up to you. Web 3 really is all about collaboration. And I think that the brands, to your point, I think the brands that come in with it and say, how can we serve you, the community, and how can we build for you? I think we'll have this kind of like the better badge value within the space. We'll have more confidence from the community that's already here. And I think it's a great carrot for people who are entering the space, because we don't we want a seat at the table, right? That's the whole reason that we've created Web3 is to create a seat at the table. And I think that brands come preloaded with that mentality and be focused more on approach than outcomes, right? Then, you know, those are the brands that we welcome with open arms, I think, by and large, right?
Yeah, I think it's just focusing on community value rather than economic value.
And I was going to add that if we're trying to build a global economy, it's really important for brands to address that and really see that we all want to be seen and we all want to have like different opportunities. But perhaps when we speak about diversity, of onboarding more women, this is not to say that you can have an amazing team with all male, right? Or those males in another team could be our allies and truly empower other women into the space. So when anyone is thinking about diversity or really onboarding more people, I always like to remind them, this does not mean for you to check off a box. This does not mean like, oh, look, I brought a woman on my team. And it's like, there is so much talent out there. So be mindful that the people around you look different. I'm all about empowering my community of Latinos, but I'm also very well aware that the talent is everywhere and the power is going to be in uniting with other communities. The power is not in segregating anyone. So I think this is also something that I would love for people to take away when we're having a women's panel. This is not like, oh, you're going to talk about women and this is, you know, only women. No, like we could all make it a little farther if we just try to look around us and see how we could combine our efforts with the best talent at hand.
Yeah, I look forward to a day where we don't have women's panels because we just have panels, you know? Like, I've been to a lot of conferences, and this is, right? I mean, if you think about it, let's think about it from like another standpoint. If you say, hey, we're going to have a panel from people in Tennessee on Web3, that's insane, right? But we should have, like, we have a good, fairly decent range of diversity on this panel, but like, we're still just like women. I want to see panels where it's just like, hey, it's creators. It's people who contribute. Like, why can't we have panels like that? Why should we have to seek out women's panels at conferences? That shouldn't be the case. In my opinion, that's my dream. I think that's when we'll have made it. Ultimately, I think we're out of time. Might be a good way to end, but please follow everyone on stage. You've got incredible, brilliant minds here. Beautiful people, very warm and welcoming. Follow everybody that you meet here. You know, anybody you interact with is a potential partner and builder in this space. And I encourage everybody to seek out as many people as you can. Can I say we can find you after the talk and reach out? Yeah, we'll be back there. I hope you have a wonderful conference. And thank you for coming to see the women in Web3. We're not it.